Lil Durk, man, that Trump case for James Comey and Leticia James, bruh, what? Take a listen to this and tell me if it sounds similar to Lil Durk's case. Let's go. Federal judge dismisses indictments against Leticia James and James Comey, saying Lindsay Halligan's appointment was unlawful. A federal judge dismissed the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Leticia James on Monday. The judge found that President Donald Trump's appointment of interim United States Attorney Lindsay Halligan in Alexandria, Virginia, was invalid. Trump handpicked Halligan for the role amid increasing pressure to bring criminal cases against his political enemies, including Comey and James. The Attorney General's attempt to install Ms. Halligan as interim U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was invalid. Judge Cameron McGowan Curie wrote in her Monday order. According to Curie, all actions flowing from Ms. Halligan's defective appointment, including the indictments against Comey and James, were unlawful exercises of executive power and are hereby set aside. The judge tossed out the cases without prejudice, leaving open the possibility that the case against Comey and James can be brought again alleging the same conduct. But McGowan Curry appeared to acknowledge in her ruling that for Comey, such a move may not be possible since the statute of limitations for his charges has now passed. James issued a statement after the charges against her were dropped. I am heartened by today's victory and grateful for the prayers and support I have received from around the country, she said. I remain fearless in the face of these baseless charges as I continue fighting for New Yorkers every single day. Comey addressed the dismissal in a video he posted on Instagram. I'm grateful that the court ended the case against me, which was a prosecution based on malevolence and incompetence and a reflection of what the Department of Justice has become under Donald Trump, which is heartbreaking, he said. But I was also inspired by the example of career people who refuse to be part of this travesty. It cost some of them their jobs, which is painful, but it preserved their integrity, which is beyond price. He continued to say that a message must be sent to the president, cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. I don't care what your politics are. You have to see that as fundamentally un-American and a threat to the rule of law that keeps us all free, he said. I know that Donald Trump will probably come after me again, and my attitude is going to be the same. I'm innocent, I'm not afraid, and I believe in an independent federal judiciary, a gift from our founders that protect us from a would-be tyrant. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Monday the Justice Department will appeal Monday's rulings. Now, all of that crap makes sense. Like, it definitely makes sense because you could tell, bruh, Trump, you only did that because you wanted some type of revenge. And that's why our court systems are ultimately the ones that are going to stand the test of time. Now, there's more interesting things that we find out. And I'm going to let you guys know something. If you can hit that like button real quick, do that for me real quick, force us into the algorithms. I know I took some time off. I'm going to let y'all know something. Remember when the freaking judge was like, yeah, we heard the stuff about Cruz and all the other cats, the other three guys from the wrongly appointed United States attorney. Well, we actually got a pause on that. The judge actually turned around and said, yo, I hear y'all. And technically this, and this. But they never said it was all over. They said, can you find more case law? And we'll listen to that. Well, that would be case law. So let's kind of figure out something real quick. I got some case law that I found and I dug up. And I'll make a pro Lil Durk thing and an anti-Lil Durk thing because we obviously going to be fair over here. Roll it. So when we look at Lil Durk stuff, right, and we go, oh, snap, could the president's pick Leticia James and James Comey basically help out? And so you could argue that the indictment is actually tainted because when Bilal Essayi was assigned as the acting U.S. attorney under the Constitutional Appointments Clause, only a lawfully appointed and Senate-confirmed official can exercise that power. He never got that. You know what I mean? So that's the whole entire argument. And then you got to remember, the judge actually said, yo, if y'all come back with something, then maybe, we could do that. So this is what exactly it is, because if they basically can say that Essayi had exercised supervisory authority, gave orders or signed anything connected to Durk's prosecution while unlawfully occupying that office, then the proceedings are constitutionally compromised. So under that, the court could say, we're going to dismiss the whole entire thing without prejudice because allowing the case to move forward under the shadow of unconstitutional appointment will violate due process and undermine public trust in the justice system, which you can't really have that. It's like, and we gave the analogy last time. We were saying, imagine if your teacher said that you were supposed to be kicked out of school and the person who determined you to be kicked out of school was your principal, but that principal actually was a substitute principal. He wasn't, you know what I mean? He wasn't the whole entire, he didn't get confirmed to be principal. No superintendents, let him go in or none of that crap. And that's how we're looking at the Senate. But you could argue, and this is where the negative part comes in, you could basically say that it's completely different because Essayi was not the sole prosecutor who handled or presented the case. The indictment and the filings were signed by properly appointed U.S. attorneys and all that. So the core legal actions were performed by duties of individuals who basically had the authority. Unlike Halligan in the Virginia case, Essayi's role was limited. And a previous judge already said that he could not serve as acting United States attorney. He could legally continue performing the functions of the first assistant U.S. attorney. So there's that. That distinction means his involvement doesn't automatically affect or infect the whole entire prosecution without evidence that Essayi personally presented the case for the grand jury, signed an indictment, or was the exclusive decision maker. The constitutional harm is not strong enough to justify dismissal. But you could say the motion lacks the factual foundation needed to recreate it. You know what I mean? So I think what they're going to do with Drew Filling and them are going to do, they're going to bring up Ryder versus United States and then Lucia versus SEC. And then Ryder's going to end up being 515 U.S. 177 1995. And as the Supreme Court held that a defendant is entitled to relief when a government official exercises authority without lawful appointment. And then you get the same thing in Lucia versus SEC 585 U.S. 237, and that's 2018. Then it says the court ruled that actions taken by improperly appointed officers must be vacated and reheard by a properly appointed official. So there's that. But the same thing that we've seen before that the feds had hit him with United States versus Mechanic, and that's 475 U.S. 66, and that's 1986, which held that the errors in the grand jury process do not mandate dismissal if the indictment was returned by a lawfully constituted grand jury. And then they can go United States versus Suzcun, and that's 237 F3D 1284 11th Circuit 2001. And it says the court upheld an indictment where a technically unauthorized prosecutor participated because other properly authorized prosecutors also signed and presented the case. The cases were underscored that dismissal is an extreme remedy, reversal for situations. But I'll kind of let y'all in a little bit more. All in all, the serious nature of it all, I don't think Durk's going to get off on that. But would it surprise me? Hell no. Hell to the no. And I'll tell you why it doesn't surprise me if he were to get off. Because you guys took the lazy route. You didn't cross all your T's and dot all your I's. So how is it the feds ain't properly operating like the oil machine that they claim to be? Should it be thrown out? Technically, yes. Will it be thrown out? I don't think so because this is murder, bro. This is murder for hire. And without prejudice? Whew, I don't know. But let's say it does get thrown out. Let's get the freaking press going crazy. Lil Durk beat his charges. Lil Durk had it dropped. That's not going to be the end of it. What'll end up happening more than likely is the doggone feds are going to slide that dossier over to the LA County DA and then let them do it. Even if Durk beats the feds, he still has to beat the state. There's enough evidence that they can actually say, yo, bro, yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and indict Lil Durk on this one. So they'll present it to a grand jury come back and all this shit. But Lil Durk would massacre that case in California because California and rap lyrics, we actually are doing pretty well with them. Those lyrics will be tossed out immediately. You ain't got to worry about that. New York and California with rap lyrics and this shit, that's definitely the state that you want to catch a case where they can't throw your rap lyrics in there. But I remember one point in time, Boosie saying in his trial, the state was playing songs that had nothing to pertain with anything he was doing. They were trying to paint him as a bad guy. But I keep on telling y'all this, and some of y'all will believe it, some of y'all won't. The individuals in California, the grand jury in California, those rap lyrics ain't gonna hit as if they was chilling somewhere in, I don't know, Wyoming or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that ain't gonna work. If they was chilling somewhere in South Dakota or North Dakota or Montana or Idaho, like, it's not gonna hit the same because these white people over here, they grew up on NWA. They grew up on F the Police. They grew up on Ice-T. They grew up on gangster rap. They grew up on all of this shit, so it's not going to be the same. Rap been in existence for 40 plus years. So as long as they're going to nitpick the hell out of the drawers and try to get younger, like I say 40 years old, I'm looking for 40. 40 and under. Hell, 50 and under. 60, yeah. 50 and under, all right, I might have a shot. 40 and under, I'm walking the shit out of this case. Just gonna be honest. So, I don't think it's gonna get dropped, but if it does, it would not surprise me at all. It just wouldn't. But if it does get dismissed, I think it gets dismissed with prejudice instead of without prejudice. Because the whole argument of the state, the feds is this. All right, even if he did sign off on this crap, everything was procedurally right and we had lawyers with him. So y'all can't turn around and do this BS. But y'all, let me know your thoughts on this one. I'd be curious to read. Do y'all think that this is enough? Or do y'all think how I'm thinking? The serious nature of this shit, murder for hire, getting on planes, credit cards, and shooting up bang bang and by the Beverly and all this, bro. God, dog. Just over there 2 weeks ago, bro. No, 3 weeks ago. No, last month. Yeah, I was in LA. No, I was out in LA. October? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, bro. So we'll see. But y'all, let me know your thoughts on this one. Click right here, bruh. What the hell? Pop Smoke, bruh, might be the most solid rapper in history. 19 years old, doing things like this. Click right here for that video, or click right here for the playlist. Sorry I took so long for this video, man. I've been kind of vacationing and chilling out. My bad, y'all. But if y'all can hit that like button and put us into the algorithm, it'd be highly appreciated. And I'll catch you on the next one. Like I said, click right here for the Pop Smoke. Finna go do my dance. Hey. Pop Smoke.